Well, hello and very warm welcome to today's bite-sized session. Just give me a quick heads up, give me a yes in the chat or a quick magic high five, a little raise of the hand if you can see and hear me quite clearly. Am I coming through loud and clear your end? Fantastic, thank you so much. Okay, we're going to get started in a second or two. I'm just going to stop that share so you guys can see me a little bit more clearly. There we go. Okay, well, we're going to get started. We're going to jump straight into it because today's session is, of course, all around unlocking our time and taking a moment or two to reflect around our time management, where we spend our time and how we spend our time is going to be the order of the day today. So sit back, grab a drink, grab a pen and paper, take some notes if you care to. Other than that, share your thoughts and your ideas and reflections in the chat function, and we'll see how we get on today. It's important I stick to time today, so our ambition today is between 20-25 minutes perhaps to talk us through how we can unlock our time this autumn. Without further ado, I think we're going to jump straight into the session. Give me a high five. You've got a nice warm drink at hand. Have you got a nice glass of water, a bottle of water? Stay nice and hydrated. Give me a high five if you're going to do that for me today. And again, feel free to share your thoughts and ideas and reflections in that chat function. It is very, very important that we take this opportunity to prioritize ourselves. And you've done that already, which is great because it tells me that you're curious. It tells me that you're ready to take a little bit more of a deeper dive into understanding how you can implement habits around your time management and around your optimal well-being goals. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Feel free to share your answers in the chat function if you choose to. This session is being recorded, by the way, so you can rewatch it if you want to. I think we're going to jump straight into the session. Let's go for it, see how we get on. Okay, so today we're going to be sharing with you some information. We're going to be taking a moment or two to reflect around this really diverse topic. And I must kind of straight off the bat here, just remind everybody that I'm certainly not here to tell you how to spend your time. How you spend your time is up to you, of course. So I'm not here to tell you how to spend your time. So it's important that we connect with that and come from that standpoint of the choices you're making around how you spend your time and where you spend your time is of course down to you. And these are going to be some ideas and perhaps some experiments today that you might want to attempt in order to improve your productivity and efficiency and how you use your time. So today our key focus is going to be on understanding why it is you want to change your daily habits. Of course, every time we do these bite-sized sessions, it's a really wonderful opportunity to really embed that why it's important for you. Why is it important for you to connect with your goals? Why is your goal important for you? Why do you care about achieving the changes that you want to go and achieve? So today, hopefully, we're going to kind of reinforce that and blow a bit more wind into your sails of why it's going to be important for you. We're going to address the difference today between being busy and prioritizing progress. I'm sure we can connect with that. Perhaps we get to the end of our day sometimes and we say, oh, I've been really busy today. And someone says, oh yeah, well, what have you done? And you go, oh, not that much, actually. Give me a high five. Does that resonate with you sometimes? Sometimes you get to the end of your day, you think, I've been really busy, but actually I didn't do that much. So we're going to look at understanding the difference between being busy and prioritizing progress. We're going to build awareness around some of these time traps that we're going to introduce to you today. We're going to face up to the challenge, of course, of designing your life. You are the architect of your life, and it's important that we come from that headspace, that space of growth mindset where I do believe I have the potential to change and I can change, rather than that limiting belief of I can't change, it's always fixed. So how are we going to go about designing your best life? What does that look like and feel like for you? And of course, we're going to explore some experiments today to build some new habits if you want to go and explore those. First thing I want to talk about here is, again, being too busy to address your current reality. Now, nowadays, I guess, in modern society, it drives that internal kind of pressure, doesn't it, to be busy all the time. And it's not natural, is it, to constantly be switched on. We're in that kind of environment where we're constantly accessible. Does that resonate with you? Do you feel like you're more accessible now than ever before with the devices and the accessibility through all sorts of different kind of mediums? And it's really important that we start to connect with that, and knowing that our environment is essentially setting us up for failure, isn't it? All of these negative, unhelpful prompts are there to kind of resist us from making those more helpful choices sometimes. So it's really, really important that we become more intentional, and that we step off this kind of always switched on mentality, or that always switched on kind of treadmill that we're constantly finding ourselves on. So as Stephen Covey says here, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. The first thing I'm going to encourage you to write down and to really hopefully resonate with you is three words: plan, schedule, and complete. Plan, schedule, and complete. This is really, really important. It's not just about taking actions, it's about planning, it's about scheduling it into the diary so you're more likely to engage in that action. So plan, schedule, and complete. Not prioritize your schedule, but schedule your priorities. What is the most important thing for you to get done today, both professionally and personally? So let's take that one step further. So I'm going to encourage you to share your thoughts here. How would you rate your professional time management out of 10? Share with me in the chat function if you want to. How would you rate your professional time management out of 10? Do you feel like at work you manage your time very effectively? You always engage in those activities that encourage you to progress and achieve the things that you want to achieve? Or do you feel the exact opposite? You feel like you're a bit lost when it comes to your time management and you don't feel effective whatsoever? So how would you rate your professional time management, your workplace time management? And of course, the second question, and again, a very important question, how would you rate your personal time management? So outside of work, where do you see yourself sitting there in terms of your personal time management? Do you feel like you prioritize you enough and what you do and the actions that lead you to your optimal well-being goals? Or is it the opposite end? Where do you feel like you're living at the moment? Wonderful reflections. Thank you so much. And again, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat function here. Thank you so much all for attending today. As I said, it will be recorded today. So where are you currently spending your time? Give me a quick raise the hand. Have you ever said to yourself, I'm just too busy to do that, or I just haven't got enough time, or I'm just not there. I'm just not ready to do this. Perhaps we need to pause and look at the language that we're using there. And sometimes saying I'm too busy is disempowering, isn't it? Perhaps whereas if we say things like, it's not my priority at the moment, then straight away we kind of gain back a little bit more control and it becomes more of an empowering statement. So where are you currently spending your time at the moment? Share with me in the chat function if you want to. What are your top three priorities in your life at the moment? What's most important for you at the moment? What things take up your thinking and your doing time? Now, wherever you are, take a moment, just reflect. What are your top three priorities in your life at the moment? Examples might be things like work or family or my health and fitness, my nutrition, whatever it looks like. What are your three priorities that are most important for you in your life at the moment? Now, you're in charge, of course. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just an opportunity to reflect. And it's followed up with a really, really interesting follow-up question I'll ask in a second. But just with a show of hand, just raise the hand. Did you identify you or your health and well-being in any of those top three priorities at the moment? So the follow-up question here is going to be, what would you like your priorities to be at the moment? Are they different? So we've paused, haven't we? We've taken a moment to look at some of the things that we prioritize in our life at the moment. But what would you like them to be? Are they different? And this is really important because it reinforces, doesn't it, that priority mindset, the idea that well-being is the most, and your own well-being and taking control of your own being and investing and prioritizing your well-being is the most selfless thing that you can do. And dreaming about kind of the future is only half kind of the work, isn't it? Because without facing up to the current reality and understanding your current reality and the potential obstacles that might trip you up, without doing that, you're kind of setting yourself up to fail. So here we talk and we look around. What are some of your current priorities, and what would you like to focus a little bit more on? Thank you for sharing your reflections in the chat as well. It's not going unnoticed. It's really lovely actually to get a little bit of an insight. It's a real privilege for me. So thank you for sharing. Now, the first time trap I want to introduce to you is this distraction culture, this digital overload that we're constantly exposed to. I mean, just take your day so far up to this point. Perhaps this resonates with you. Perhaps you can recognize kind of this sort of distraction practice. Perhaps you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is to check your phone. Perhaps you check your phone for notifications and you bounce around from Snapchat to Instagram to Facebook to back to Instagram, and you find yourself getting lost into this black hole already. Then you go downstairs and you switch on the news and you're distracted by the news, and it's generally unhelpful, right? It's I like to refer to news, as bad weather. It's kind of like bad weather, isn't it? It's constantly a bit miserable. So we're constantly exposed and distracted away from the things that we should be prioritizing, perhaps, by this distraction that we get. And then, of course, the kids perhaps are screaming at you. There's nothing to eat for breakfast, and they need to the ingredients to make that cake for that charity morning they've got to go and do at the moment, and you're pulling your hair out and you're distracted by your children as well. And then once you finally manage to leave the house, you're bombarded by all of these advertisements. Perhaps it's radio, perhaps it's advertising billboards or automated text that pop up on your phone or your device. And of course, then you get to work, and when you open your computer, you realize you've got to get your head involved in the work and simultaneously write your to-do list, and perhaps text back to your friend who's just texted you. It's hardly surprising, is it, that when it comes to mid-morning that we're feeling like the day's a bit of a washout already. We're feeling like we've just been running up a hill so far. And it's this perpetual distraction culture that we live in. It's, we've spent all morning reacting rather than proactively progressing. Give me a high five. Does this or a form of this distraction culture resonate with you? Do you notice this in yourself or someone that you live with? And it may well be the case. Remember, knowing that our environment is setting us up to fail means that we have to be intentional. We have to notice, don't we? So another time trap is multitasking. I want to share this reflection for you. Well, give me a high five or a yes in the chat function. Would you consider yourself a top-notch multitasker? Or do you know someone that would describe themselves as a very, very good multitasker? And it's really important here that we pause to reflect, because nowadays in societies, we celebrate multitasking like it's some sort of superpower, but science has a little bit of an interesting kind of take on it as well. As you can see here, it can reduce our productivity by up to 40%, which is really interesting. Multitasking lowers IQ by up to 15 points, according to the University of London here. It damages short-term memory and emotional control, according to the University of Sussex, which is really interesting. Interestingly, they said about watching TV, especially for children, watching television and playing on their devices or being with a device or a tablet, again, damages their short-term memory and emotional control as well, which was quite interesting as well. And interestingly, at the bottom here, multitasking. When it comes to multitasking, it takes the average person around about 20 minutes to return to the original task after an interruption. So sometimes I like to use the analogy of kind of having loads of different tabs open on your laptop. So if you're multitasking, your brain is jumping from one tab to another tab, back to this tab and back to that tab. Interestingly, they said if you can prioritize 20 minutes and just focus on that one thing just for about 20 minutes and then step away, perhaps take a moment or two to come up for a bit of air, a bit of breath work, or change your activity. By focusing just for 10-minute kind of chunks, we become more efficient, more productive. And again, it's each to their own. It might not necessarily resonate with you. But this quote from Confucius really resonates with me, because if we're multitasking, are we really paying attention? I mean, did I catch you just now, right now, multitasking? Give me a high five, be honest. Did I catch you multitasking? A few people are giving me a high five here. So if we're chasing two rabbits, we're catching neither of them. Where are you going to prioritize your time? Click. Did I click? Excuse me. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what is the impact of these time traps? Remember, plan, schedule, and complete. A plan is the what, the schedule is the when. It takes both the plan and the schedule to get things done. So what is the impact? The challenge that we have, of course, is that if we are distracted and consumed by these kind of time traps, we might notice that we're always constantly overstimulated. So we're constantly exposed, and our nervous system is chronically exposed to stress. And this is very, very unhelpful, of course. And this can lead to all sorts of challenges with our health and with the well-being when it comes to experiencing too much unmanageable kind of stress. So our sympathetic nervous system, that stress response, becomes dominant. It kind of lights up too often, for too long, too frequently. And we're not accessing those parts of our nervous system that allow us to recover. So we're not getting the right amount of downtime. Perhaps these resonate with you. And this, of course, kind of impacts on our sleep quality. I mean, absence of good quality sleep means that our kind of waste removal systems in our brain, this glymphatic kind of waste removal system in our brain, doesn't work as efficiently as it could. And if we're not getting good quality sleep, of course, then we're not regulating many of the systems in our body. And recent evidence suggests that the glymphatic system may be, or actually will be, disrupted and can contribute to, if it's not working as efficiently as it could, it can contribute to some diseases of the brain, things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and dementia, and things like that. And also, if you feel you have a strong purpose in life and you feel a sense of kind of goal directedness, then you feel you have aims and objectives for living. So it's really important here that we start to pause, because when we look at gaining a really wonderful sense of purpose and clarity in our choices and motivations that we choose, it's really important that we connect with our purpose. It may be no surprise to learn, of course, that the biggest predictor in happiness and fulfillment overall is in our relationships. So investing in cultivating authentic, meaningful relationships with those people that matter the most are exceptionally important, because if we're distracted by these time traps, again, it can distract us away from what's important or most important to us. Give me a high five. Some of these impacts resonate with you. So I just want to share with you this. It's called the Eisenhower Matrix, and if you're journeying through the program, it's in, of course, the Master Your Time module, where we start to encourage you to really pause and really utilize this tool that helps us prioritize tasks that are based on urgency and importance. Now, it's a very useful tool. It helps us stay curious about how we spend our time, where we spend our time as well. So as you can see, it's broken into 4 quadrants. We've got urgent and important. Now, urgent represents those tasks that require, of course, immediate attention, things like deadlines, things like picking the kids up from school, things like, paying the final bills and those sorts of things. And important tasks, let me just click that. Important tasks are those tasks and activities in your day that are directly related to your long-term goals. So perhaps those important tasks are things like, applying for that new job, organising a date with a loved one, perhaps scheduling in some financial planning, perhaps scheduling in your exercise and your meal planning and your shopping routines. Perhaps it's scheduling in things like volunteering. So we have important tasks and urgent tasks, and that's the difference between the both. In quadrant 1, as you can see, this is the quadrant where it's both urgent and important. And so this is the do it section. So this is where, if we feel like we're spending loads of our time just constantly firefighting, we constantly have things that need to get done, that have to get done, and we have to prioritize those things. And we're constantly in that zone, spending more and more time in that zone, getting things done. We're constantly at it. Give me a high five. Does that resonate with you? Perhaps some of your days are like that. And if this is you, we need to spend a little bit more time in getting clear what optimal well-being really means to us. And it's this clarity actually will give us perhaps the confidence to be able to say to ourselves, no, or not right now, when it comes to other people's deadlines as well. So then we have quadrant 2, and this is the game-changing kind of quadrant, and this represents urgent, well, less urgent, but important tasks. Now, these are tasks that take time and effort to achieve, and they're often tasks that we procrastinate over, right? And we procrastinate over the most because the simple fact is that they're not urgent. And when we prioritize this time by physically scheduling it into our diaries, you are much more likely to complete the task, to build your new habits, to reap those kind of sustainable benefits of practicing this exercise. So we want to really fill up that quadrant 2, don't we? And notice some of those activities that live in there. And quadrant 3, as you can see, is urgent but less important tasks. And here we can perhaps delegate these particular tasks. When it comes to delegation, the important thing, of course, to remember is that we need to get feedback. We can't just kick responsibility over to somebody else and then say, if it goes wrong, well, unlucky, that's your choice. We need to gather feedback constantly when we're delegating as well. So here, we're engaged in those activities that don't spark that much joy to you. Perhaps you can, delegate those particular tasks to others. And quadrant 4, of course, is the ditch it. This is the time, what we would consider or judge to be, time wasting activities. So if you find yourself time wasting or procrastinating or engaging in these degenerative habits, you'll be living in that kind of quadrant 4. So take a moment to reflect on all the activities that you've done today so far. Where would you put those activities? And this Eisenhower matrix is an extremely useful tool because you can use it specifically for tasks that outside of work and tasks at work as well. Now remember, treat your highest priorities like a flight you need to catch. Give them a set time in advance and say no to anything that would stop you making that flight. Give it as much urgency as you can. Those highest priorities, those quadrant 2 activities. Remember, plan, schedule, and complete. I'm really conscious of time. I can't believe how quickly this time goes. I'm going to just share with you some routines and rituals. It's really, really important here that we pause to reflect and understand that goals are, of course, extremely useful for setting direction, right? So I'm sure you guys have an idea of what it is that you want to achieve, what it is that is the outcome of all of the changes that you want to implement. But systems are best for making progress. Remember, you do not rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your systems. So what systems are you going to implement that are going to support you in a more effective and efficient time management? Here we're going to introduce you to the 3G VIP. This is a very simple experiment. I'm going to encourage you all to start today. It's the one that resonated with me. It made the most change when I reflect on when I first journeyed through the program. It was the one habit that I introduced that I felt gave me the biggest bang for my buck. And it's so simple. It's 3G VIP. The 3G represents write down 3 things that you're grateful for every day. This promotes a positive mental attitude and positive mental health approach. The VIP represents vision, intention, and progress. Vision, write down every morning. I mean, I tend to do it in the morning. It's whatever suits you, but write down every morning. What is your vision? What is it that you want to go and achieve? Professionally, personally, whatever. Write it down. And that brings about that kind of purpose, doesn't it? It aligns your purpose and your behaviors to what it is that you want to go and achieve. The I, a very, very important one here. What is your intention today? What's that one thing that you can do today such that by doing it, it will make everything else will suddenly become kind of easier or even unnecessary. So what's that one thing that you need to do today once you knock over that domino, you know it's going to have this wonderful effect on the rest of the day. So what's your one intention? And finally, here is progress. This is about reflecting on yesterday. What did I do yesterday to take one small step towards my optimal well-being goal? And this is where we kind of develop that progress mindset. It's either going to be a win or learn. It's never going to be a lose. So when we start to reflect, we start to really embrace that progress mindset, which is key, isn't it, to learning and development. So this is something that you can reflect on and implement. Give me a high five. Is this something that you might experiment with, perhaps for the next 5 days? See how you get on. Absolutely encourage you to do it. 3G VIP every single day. It will, if it's anything like the effect it has on me, it will change how you approach your days and how you feel about your days. We share this slide every time, and I guess the thing here that I want you to connect with is that motivation comes and goes, right? I think we can all agree it's very, very unreliable. Things like willpower, things like motivation is very, very unreliable. So as you journey through your day, your motivation will come and go. So it's really, really important that whatever habit, whatever progress experiment, whatever change you want to implement, it's very simple, it's very accessible, it's very manageable. So even on those days, when you're not feeling, and we're all there, right? We have those days like, oh, someone kicked me in the leg. Or you've got those days, it's like, come on, bring it on. Even on those days when you're not quite feeling up for it, you can still exercise that practice of engaging in your habit, because it's simple, it's accessible, and it's manageable. So what are you going to do? Remember, what you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while. So this is about frequency and consistency. Give it a practice. What will you do to help support your time management? Perhaps it's 3G VIP, perhaps it's something else. It's 27 minutes. Oh, darn it. There, what did I say? 25 minutes. There we go. So I've managed to keep it to under 30 minutes, which actually I'm going to pat myself on the shoulder for. So brilliant stuff. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to share your thoughts in the chat function. I'm just going to launch a quick poll. Hopefully that's launched your end. Before you escape today, please jump on the poll and share your thoughts and reflections about today's session. Outside of that, it's short, sharp, opportunity to reflect. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this on recording, enjoy practicing your 1% progress experiments and see how you get on. See how you get on. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.